Days of Our Lives teased extraterrestrial life with the characters of Cassie and Rex, who turned out not to be from outer space. But, now, the actor who plays Lucas Horton has launched a new podcast titled Conspiracies Incorporated, with Bryan Dattilo, where he talks about UFOs, his own abduction, and so much more. Bryan Dattilo shares being kidnapped by aliens. Many have had a fascination with UFOs and life on other planets, and Dattilo is no exception. In the intense Q&A, he shares with SoapHub what he recalls about being abducted in 1993 soon after he joined the cast of Days, and how his mother provided surprising confirmation as to what he believes he endured. SoapHub: were you on Days when you were abducted? Bryan Dattilo: yes. It was 1993. I had just gotten Days and moved in with a friend in Culver City. SoapHub: what do you remember about the experience? Bryan Dattilo: it was at 9:38 at night. I went to sleep because I wanted to get to sleep because I had work at Days the next day. I had no time to fall asleep when it felt like I was in this dream state. I looked down and there was a window and a fish tank. Outside the window, I saw these four suspended beings looking through my window. There was a 12-foot drop to the parking garage. How were they doing this? Then, they came through the window, through my fish tank like a ghost would. They came into my room, and then they materialized. I was numb emotionally and physically. I couldn't move and evaluate what was going on. I couldn't control anything. One was smaller, and he was wearing a hoodie. He guided me out of bed. I thought, this is so weird. Why is this alien wearing a hoodie? SoapHub: were you afraid? Bryan Dattilo: the fear was overwhelming. It felt like I was drugged. It was like I was in a dream trying to figure out what happened. I remember being taken out of my apartment. The rest I remembered through hypnosis. I was in this static cloud. These beings were in this cloud with me, and they took me up to this ship. When I was there, some areas had puddles and there were electrical devices. I feared being electrocuted. Then I was taken to a solid steel cold table. I was evaluated by a skinnier-faced alien. Other features were different in this one than the one who took me out of my room. I was taken into another room with other humans who were in a trance. Next, children were brought to me. They weren't fully human and they weren't fully alien. They wanted to have a connection with me. I reacted by being panicked and having a freak out. I saw different eyes in a human body. I thought it might be connected to me genetically. It was too much to process, and I flipped out. I was then shut down, drugged or subdued, and then, I felt like I disappointed and didn't pass a test. It's crazy. I've found in my research, what happened to me is what other people describe has happened to them. It's something that even people who know me that comes out. I tell ghost stories. I even read people sometimes when they tell me about someone who passed away. Shelly Hennig, ex-Stephanie, and I were doing an event and I started getting something in my head about her brother who had passed away. She said she didn't believe me. I asked her, how can I prove this? She said, what's my brother's girlfriend's name? Lindsay popped into my head. This was her brother's way of letting Shelly know that everything was going to be okay. SoapHub: what other paranormal experiences have you had? Bryan Dattilo: I had a vision once when I was little that my mom would be killed by some people who killed the guy who lived next door to us. I cried. I said, Mom, please don't go out the front door. You'll be a witness to something in a couple of days that will make people want to kill you. That weekend, a guy, who lived near us, died during a drug deal. It turned out some guys did it and took off in a white van. If my mother had gone out when she had, they might have seen her. That was in Fate magazine in the early 1980s. Weird stuff like that has happened to me my whole life. SoapHub: can you give another example? Bryan Dattilo: yes. One time, I astral projected myself down a hallway when I was in a hotel doing a personal appearance. They called me to ask what I was doing in the hallway, but I said, I'm in my room. I'm in my tidy whities and I'm asleep. I haven't been running around. They said we saw you in that stupid yellow shirt you have, and you were yelling out it's on like Donkey Kong. I said, first of all, I didn't even bring that stupid yellow shirt. It's at home. So Pug, I've known you all these years, and I don't know these stories. Bryan Dattilo laughs. Everyone says that when they talk to me. So Pug, I'm sure that you've run the gamut where some people believe you, some people may believe you, and some people may never believe you no matter what you say. Bryan Dattilo, oh, those last ones are my favorites. I can crack those guys. I can get into the probability of life on other planets. In our freaking Milky Way galaxy alone, there are hundreds of billions of stars. There are planets, rotations, gravities, and life. Why do we think we're the only ones here? The only species in the whole galaxy? And that's just our galaxy. You can't ignore the odds of life being on other planets. You can't ignore them being further along in terms of technology and spirituality. To me, that doesn't make any sense. So Pug, back to the abduction. Did you get to work the next day? Bryan Dattilo, yes. I was at work the next day on time. That's how dedicated I am. When I went to sleep at 9:38 p.m., I woke up the next day just before 7 a.m. When I woke up in my bed, I was drenched like I'd gone swimming. My underwear was down by my ankles. I knew something had gone on. I called my mom and started to tell her. She told me to wait until she told me what happened to her. She told me she'd had a dream that I came to her with a baby, but she didn't let me in because the baby wasn't human. I said, Mom, that's part of what happened to me. For my mother to beat me to the punch when I went to tell her about what happened the next day? What's that about? Click here to learn more about Conspiracies Incorporated. With Bryan Dattilo. Days of Our Lives, DOOL, airs weekdays on NBC. Check your local listings for airtimes. For more about what's coming up in Salem, check out all the latest that's been posted on Days Spoilers, and for an in-depth look at the show's history, click here. Ad block test, why?